Share via email report story. I had no idea what went through my mind when writing this, but I found the concept extremely adorable. A little context. Everything is normal, but Ochako has a cat quirk and Izuku have a bunny quirk, pretty explanatory. You and Uraraka have gotten awfully close lately. Not afraid she'll eat you anymore. Tokiyami shuddered slightly. Although he came to like the feisty cat, he always hesitated because she would naturally pounce on her friends to show her affection. Izuku, admittedly, agreed that she could be quite energetic at times. She's not going to eat anyone, we're not complete animals. Speaking of, I've been recording some notes on our classmates. Do you think that with more vocal training that Koda could control us? Tokiyami paused, before shaking his head. That's not a pleasant thought I would like to indulge in. Izuku giggled, his ears twitching with joy. Well, if he could, I'm sure Koda wouldn't take over the world. It'll probably do a lot of help in hero work. His phone vibrated in his pocket, revealing a text message. Looks like she's back. Want to join us? Tokiyami kindly refused the offer. I would, but Iida, Asui, Shoji and a few others are heading out this afternoon. Let's catch up later this evening. With that, they said their goodbyes and Izuku skipped towards the forest. When most people needed a break, some would go to their school's rooftop or use an empty classroom. For Uraraka and Izuku, however, they preferred the tranquility of the forest. There was some trails, and a few students would use it to practice honing their quirks. However, most of the time, they could claim it as their hideout. Izuku walked along, reflecting on his battle with gentle criminal here, before he felt some leaves fall onto his head. He looked up, as another one drifted and landed gently on his nose, smiling. Sure enough, his close friend was high up, lazily picking leaves off the branch up above him. She was leaning against the bark, her tail swinging back and forth. Izuku hopped up the tree, twisting midair and landing naturally in front of her. Ta-da! He dramatically waved Jazz hands, his ears standing tall with pride at his binky. Look up Bunny's binky. This faded, however, noticing a rather solemn expression on Uraraka's face. I was going to comment on if you were enjoying the sunlight, but it seems like you got something on your mind. Uraraka glanced at her friend, before exhaling. Izuku was beginning to feel more worried than before. Typically, she would have pounced on him and gave him a big hug, a greeting he felt accustomed to. He would then listen to her talk about her internship, as he quietly listened to her lively spirit. Today, it seemed like something else was on her mind. She leaned forward and yawned, displaying her fangs and unnaturally long tongue. Of course, it didn't compare anywhere close to Asui, but it was still quite long. I think I'll be fine, a lot happened at work today. She plucked another leaf and placed it on his head, smirking. How was work with Mirko? It went all right, though she's still as brash as ever. A more aggressive and feminine Bakugo. I'm still surprised she picked me for her internship instead of him. Could be for publicity. You're a bunny and she's a rabbit. You both use your legs, seems like a natural fit to me. She continued placing leaves on his head, watching his fuzzy hair engulf it all. It's soft and swallows it all, I guess, but since she's used to flying solo, we're still working on teamwork. His long ears drooped a tad, before perking himself up. How are things with the wild pussycats? She stopped short of placing another leaf, before sighing once more. Things have been tough, the synergy haven't been there since Ragdoll lost her quirk. I try to do as much as I can to contribute, but I don't know, I feel incompetent at times. We was called for some disaster relief, yet they didn't want me to come with them, saying that it was better for me to stay back. Promoted stories. You'll also like Iswocha One Shots, 32.8K 232. These are just one-shots about the wonderful ship Izwocha, probably no lemons or smuts, though I will include cursing, angst, fluff. Ghost Todoroki Shoto. 112K 4.1K. Degree. Asterisk wait, are you from Ghostbusters, in which Todoroki Shoto grew up with a ghost Todoric? Under pressure. 8.8K 379. Asterisk dotted circle asterisk lying down on the cool grass, they let the sight of the vast universe overt. BNHAONESHOTS. 20.8K 297. Unoya N. Beautiful thinking MHA characters X reader, Onishots just a tired, teenage. Izuku X Ochako fanfic, all I need is you. 1M18.5K. Izuku Midoriya and Ochako Uraraka are two pro heroes in training and promising ones at that. They attend UA High, which is well known for producing powerful heroes includ. BNHA Lemonade discontinued. 790K8K. Black Circle YNX character only Black Circle. Red Circle most common love interests Red Circle. Black Circle rare updates Black Circle. Red Circle under heavy editing. Sweet Green Tea. Izwocha one shots. 58.5K 1.1K. Heart yeah, I'm here. Long hiatus fluffy one shots of our floating. Pink Mochi and Lil, Freckled Bean. Requests open. Note. No smuts. All art belongs to AR. Ochako growled, a deep one, her response whenever things upset or irritated her. He known his friend for a long time, so seeing her this upset made him upset too. Your worry is reasonable, but with your cat-like reflexes, they'll recognize your potential soon enough. Izuku shook his head, causing a mini avalanche of leaves to fall. Ochako laughed quietly at the sight, as he began picking other leaves out of his hair. Maybe it's just your docile and peaceful nature, but you can always find a positive for others, can't you? Izuku thought for a second, before speaking. I don't know, my rabbit traits may play a part, but take these leaves, for example. Every year they fall, the wind taking them somewhere new. But that doesn't mean their life is over, they can continue the cycle somewhere else, either helping other plants grow or growing themselves. I have no idea what tomorrow will bring, but I'm happy being here now, being in UA with our classmates, by your side and supporting you, growing together. He gently placed a single leaf on her nose, as she listened, stunned. Suddenly, her nose scrunched and she sneezed, wiggling her nose. His ears perked up as he watched a familiar toothy smile shine, as she pounced at him. Wait! Their bodies collided out the tree, with Izuku landing in the grass and Ochako gracefully landing on her feet. Sorry, instincts kicked in. Her tail switched from side to side, her ears fluttering. It's fine, just a little winded. Let's head back, we can watch a movie and chill if it helps. He did a kip up before dusting himself off. Ochako agreed, and headed back to the dorms to watch the movie. It was a short one, a nice comedy, they both was able to enjoy it without stressing about school or hero work. After that, Ochako wanted Izuku to stay a little longer, so they was currently lounging around together. You know, I never got to ask you this when we first met, but since we know each other better, what type of cat are you? Havana Brown. We believe that the quirk skipped a generation, most likely coming from my mother's mother. What made you ask? Her question was quickly answered as he scribbled notes in a notebook. She snatched the notebook and walked towards her desk. Hey, that's enough work, take this time to relax with me. Her tail swung as she placed the book down, strangely hypnotic towards Izuku. I wonder what would happen if I. On curiosity, he gently stroked her tail, feeling the warm fur between his fingers. Ochako yelped, emitting a distinct noise. The hair all over her body stood up, as she turned around covering her mouth with a massive blush. Did you just purr? Shut up. You're not supposed to touch someone without permission. How would you like it if I touched your fuzzy tail, huh? But you touch my hair all the tea. My tail is very sensitive, okay. Her eyes darted across the room, holding her tail behind her. Well, I'm sorry, didn't mean to scare you. I never heard you purr before, so that was new. It's fine, she pouted. Just give me a warning, okay? She walked over and sat next to him on the bed. Ah, Uraraka, I'm going to let you hear me purr, but keep it between us, okay? It's embarrassing. Izuku nodded his head, his nerves kicking, and they spent numerous times being in close vicinity with each other. This time, it felt different, more intimate because he found out something that no one else knew. Deku, why yay, your leg is thumping again. He glanced down to see his right leg bouncing up and down at fast speeds. He grabbed his leg, forcing it to stop, as it calmed down. Sorry, don't be nervous, you'll make this awkward. She leaned up close to his ears, before moving her larynx in rapid movements. As she breathed, her purring came out, the sound waves tickling and exciting Izuku's ears. It awoken something carnal within him, as she leaned back and stared at her hands in her lap. Well, are you going to leave a girl hanging? Izuku moved towards her, Ochako's golden brown eyes staring back at him. He leaned in closer, as they both closed their eyes in. Izuku's ears perked up, alerting him several seconds before Ochako could hear it. A few seconds later, the door flew open. Midoriya, I bought back some food. The others told us that you guys was chilling in here. Want some? Tokiyami had walked in on the two, Izuku writing in his book and Ochako scrolling with Haragram on his phone. Cause she only had a flip phone. Yeah, sounds like a plan, we'll meet you down there. Tokiyami nodded and walked off, Izuku listening carefully until his footsteps faded down the hallway. He exhaled, before scratching his cheek. Guess it would be best to head down, right? Ochako stood up, and gently nibbled on the top of his ear, causing an unintentional moan from him. She walked to her doorway and looked back at him, winking. She held one finger over her lips, saying, That's payback, and this will be our little secret. At least, until we can do the real thing. Bonus mini shots. Don't do it. Bakugo stood in the kitchen, debating on whether he wanted to throw this knife at her. Ochako sat on the kitchen countertop, right next to his All Might mug. She had thought it was Izuku's, since every glass he owns has All Might, and he implored her to use his since she didn't have any. Apparently, she was wrong, and had drunk from Bakugo's glass. Now, finishing prepping the ingredients for dinner tonight, he was tempted to throw that knife at her. Oh really? She spun the mug on her finger, a mischievous smile showing off her fangs. She watched the color slowly drain from the explosive boy's face. She wanted to give him a taste of his own medicine since he would bully her best friend. My bad, she placed the cup back down, as Bakugo calmed down. Suddenly, she swiped the mug off the countertop. Oops tilde. Bakugo's quick reflexes helped him catch it, just barely. Ochako hopped off the countertop and dashed out the kitchen, Bakugo chasing her with explosions. Get back here, you mangy cat. Bonus mini shots too. Come on Midoriya, we got to try it. No Mina, stay away. Girls, grab him. The girls, some eager, others reluctant, but curious nonetheless. Izuku tried running away, doing zigzags and hopping over them, but they eventually caught him. He didn't want to hurt them, but this was definitely not fitting. Let me go. What now, Mina? Place him on his back. I'm going to scratch his back legs. Toru and the others complied, despite his protests. Once she started rubbing her thighs, he literally paralyzed. Did we hurt him? Momo covered her hands in shock, while Mina continued reading the article. Not exactly. This was an old technique called hypnotizing. He'll be immobile and left in a trance state. Granted, it's obviously not something he would want, but it makes me think, could this also work on Mirko? Her next statement was cut short, hearing a dangerous voice behind her. What are you doing to Deku? The girls froze, hearing a deep growl emerging from Ochako's lungs. Several punches landed on the girls' heads, leaving a huge bump. Ochako was on all fours, hair standing and hissing at her friends. Although in her eyes, prey would have been the more likely term. Izuku finally snapped out of his hypnotism, glancing at the situation. The rest of the girls was bowing and apologizing, and Ochako continued snarling at them. Her eyes got narrow, creeping up on them slowly. You uraraka, I'm fine. Ochako turned her head, and walked around him as he was sitting. She inspected him, almost every crevice, before being satisfied. She darted her eyes towards her friends, sending shivers down their spines. Sorry Midoriya, they all said simultaneously, and Ochako continued growling in contempt. Ochako really is overprotective of him. They all thought this but didn't dare to say it aloud. Izuku stood beside her, as she slowly calmed down and her golden brown orbs returned to normal. I'll say this once, don't hurt Deku. Got it? The girls eagerly nodded, not wanted another bump on the head. Ochako grabbed Izuku and dashed out the room. Alright, Mina started. I think I'm done looking up rabbit facts today. Where stories live, discover now.